Well, hello and welcome to the Bottom Line Me podcast. I'm Ian Allard, and today I have the pleasure of having an opportunity to have a conversation with Jordan Hancock. Jordan is on the front line at one of our Old Republic title offices. Thought it would be a great opportunity to sit and chat with him about what some of the challenges are for someone who is the first voice or the first face that a customer sees when they come into the office. So Jordan, thank you so much for spending some time.
It's nice to be here as well. Thank you.
Good. So what is the biggest challenge you face out there on the front line?
You have to really be on your toes. You have to be kind of ready for anything. 90% of the time you're getting calls that are usually pretty amicable, where people are just seeking information and you're kind of directing them into the right areas. Listening is really crucial to this because you don't want to all of a sudden they were looking for somebody and then you kind of drop the call somewhere else, right? And that. And another thing is that you don't want to keep them on hold forever either. And you want to get the calls over as quickly as possible. Granted, sometimes through the years now, I've kind of formed friendships with certain people and that through the phone, you know what I mean? I've never really seen them, but they know me from my voice and they always kind of look forward to talking to me because I am kind of a nice person. I listen, I make a joke from here to there. It kind of makes their day too as well. So it's just being personable and treating that person, even though you can't see them, as somebody that's physically there.
Interesting. What do you do if let's say, the phone is ringing, but you have somebody at the reception desk? How do you make a decision about what to do?
So if it's something like that, I'll kind of take a look at the call. And especially too, since I've been here for a while now, I know who.
Caller ID.
Yeah, right. Who is calling. And so sometimes what I'll do is I'll just be I'll pick up the phone. I'll be hey, would you mind holding for a brief moment? I have somebody here. Oh, sure. Right. You don't want to kind of just be hi, can you be on hold? Right? You kind of want to have something to let them know that, oh, wow, I just kind of interrupted you. Well, you didn't really interrupt me, but let me put you on a brief hold here so I can, see what's going on with this person that's at my front desk.
It's a balance. I mean, I know I've had this experience.
It's a tightrope.
But I think even for the customer, I may have been in front of somebody at a reception desk and I'm in the middle of a conversation and a phone rings, and before I even finish the sentence, they're picking up the phone, and it's wait a minute,
Right.
Weren't we having a conversation? So I think that's probably one of the most difficult things that a receptionist has to deal with is how do you juggle all these things at the same time?
Like I said, it's a balancing act, right? But after a while, you kind of get into your headset is you're always on, right? Mm-hmm. You're ready for almost anything.
Right.
There'll be times that I'll actually answer the call and people are still having a discussion. They're almost thinking that she's not going to pick up this quick. And then I'll catch the tail end of things and I'll kind of oh, no, that's not me. And they're oh, I didn't realize you were on the phone. Oh, no, that's okay. Who are you looking for today? And so we kind of handle it that way, right?
Yeah.
But, and then obviously you're going to get probably somebody too on the phone that maybe is not having a great day.
You were reading my mind. I was just going to ask you, how do you deal with that?
Well, it's in many ways, you want to, I learned one thing from this woman named Emily Lloyd back in New York when I was working in New York. And she always said, never respond out of anger, always respond out of sadness.
Well, that's interesting.
So, and the reason why is if you give something back to somebody that's anger, it's just going to escalate it and it's going to just be disastrous for both parties, right? Mm-hmm. But if you can actually sit there and listen to the person discussing and then kind of have some empathy for them, and that's really the key to this, is that you can't be so robotic. People have feelings, people are having bad days, and I have it kind of I guess a unique way of always kind of turning it around and making them laugh about whatever it was that was upsetting for them.
Yeah.
And I'll even get some of those people that call me back again, and it's just I needed a laugh, so I called you. You know what I mean? Right. So, I always look at
What's
those.
What's your number? I'm gonna...
right, 978. But I always look forward to those kind of things because I see that as a challenge to make their day better instead of making it worse, right? And a lot of times in customer service, somebody's kind of already got a tone with them they're going to give a tone back, and that whole kind of conversation is just not going to be as productive as it could have been, right? So if you're listening and you kind of see what they're saying, then you can kind of work with that and make them feel by the end of it that like whatever they were feeling in the beginning now has kind of left the conversation. They feel better about everything. And you're feeling good because you actually made somebody's day better, right?
Right.
You know, you took something that was like, if they give you lemons, you make lemonade, right? And in this case, I sweeten it a little bit. So, yeah.
Well, that's great. Any other thoughts or any other tips for anybody that works in the front line?
You got to be very versatile. You're going to be wearing a lot of different hats. You're just not there just to answer the phone. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's other things that you're going to be doing throughout the day that, if you plan on just sitting around, well, that's the wrong job maybe for you, right? Because you're going to be doing different tasks and you're going to be switching gears a lot. You could be working on one thing and then maybe your boss is going to come over and ask you to switch gears, right? So you do that too. So you have to be flexible. I mean, honestly, flexible and versatile. That for me, that's like what I'm seeing kind of works in general, and that's the kind of customer service that I like offering anyway, is like I like problem solving, right? And I kind of like the challenges that go with that problem solving because I learned something more about myself too at the end of that. You know what I mean?
That's wonderful. That's a great bottom line. On our show, we like to always end with what's the bottom line on whatever the topic is that we're discussing. So bottom line us on being a customer service representative in the front line. What's the one thing that you want to make sure you always do?
You always want to be positive. I mean, you always want to have a sense of like helpfulness and you're ready to kind of solve a problem. If you're not really up to the task of solving a problem, then it's going to kind of go south quickly, right? Because a lot of these people that are calling are looking for answers. And if you don't have an answer, it's better to say that you don't instead of making pretend that you do. Because in the end, they're going to find out that you didn't have the right answer. And they're going to be like, well, that person told me this. You never kind of want to have that happen, right? You always want to make sure that whatever you're doing is like solving the problem, not creating more of it for them. Because they're looking for a solution. And they're hoping that you're going to be the solution to whatever they need. Be it a policy, trying to find somebody that they can't find, endorsements or whatever. They just want to make sure that you solve the problem, right? Instead of kind of making it go further.
Oh, awesome. Well, Jordan, thank you so much for
thank
spending
you, Ann.
some time with me today.
I like spending time with you.
It was great. I feel like I've known you for years and we've only just
Past life.
Right. And to our audience, I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. And as we always like to say at Agency University, may you continue to learn, grow, and prosper.